Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the IWillAim podcast. Our topic for today is priority living with our special guest, Bill Goodwin. Hi, Bill. How are you doing today?
Will, I am terrific. I am so glad to be with you. Thanks for having me today.
Welcome. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, I currently live in the great state of Minnesota. I grew up in Arizona. I'm really more of a warm weather kind of guy, so it's kind of fun that I find myself in Minnesota currently. But yeah, I'm passionate about leadership and personal development. I served as a youth pastor and then a lead pastor, combination of those things for over 30 years, and I'm really passionate about helping to elevate individuals and teams and ultimately having businesses become more successful. And I'm an author of a new book, and I'm excited about that, and lot of wonderful things. I have a wonderful family, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be mentored by leadership expert John C. Maxwell, as well as other great leaders. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about myself. On the personal note, I also really enjoy being out on the lake, any Minnesota lake, and I love to travel and listen to podcasts. And I'm glad that I'm on your podcast here today.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to our conversation. So what inspired you to write Priority Living?
Yeah, here's my book here for those that have the visual up. Maybe some are just listening audio, but here's what the book looks like. It's called Priority Living: Seven Pillars to Make Your Life Count. And what inspired me to write it? Well, there's a backstory to this, Will, and I'll share a brief backstory. The details are in the book. But November 3rd, 1999, so about 26 years ago, depending upon when you're listening to this, I had a severe asthma attack, which led to respiratory failure. And on that day, Will, I died. That date should have been on my tombstone. I coded in the ER and I was resuscitated, of course, or I wouldn't be here talking to you today. That really it was a wake up call for me. I was 28 years of age at the time. And so I really was all the more grateful to be given a second chance, but also recognizing that I really want to make my life count. And you don't have to die to want to make your life count. All of us have a desire to make a difference in this world while we're here. And I was all the more intentional about that myself. So over the last 20 plus years, I didn't have the title Priority Living. I didn't have things organized as far as the book is with the pillars, but I had these seven areas where I wanted to be intentional to live my life and build my life on a foundation to build those pillars on, which to me ultimately creates this framework that I call priority living. And I believe that it's time to get this message out through the book and other mediums in order to let people know maybe one or more of these pillars could be able to make a difference in your life, so that as you desire to make your life count, maybe I can give some guidance or some encouragement as to at least how I'm doing it.
As you mentioned about the pillar, can you give us a high level overview of the seven pillar and maybe take it one step further? Which of the pillar you felt strongly associated?
Yeah. Well, I feel very strongly about all of them. So maybe as I go through them, we'll jump up in my thoughts here, Will. But so the first pillar is purpose. We all need to discover our purpose. In that chapter, I have 10 questions that help you discover your purpose. You know, purpose is the best of what you have to help others. And so there's also a QR code in the book that leads you to a purpose factor assessment if you want to do an online assessment for your purpose. I love the quote from Mark Twain. He said the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you discover why. So it's all about purpose. That's pillar number one. Once we discover our purpose, pillar number two is about growth. So it's all about personal development, spiritual growth, that we are growing ourselves. The only guarantee that tomorrow will be better is if you're growing yourself today. So that's the second pillar. I talk a lot about ways that I'm growing myself to encourage the reader to have some real practical ways of how to become a better version of yourself day by day. The third pillar is impact. Impact is all about the opportunities that are before us where we actually do make a difference. We've discovered our purpose, we're growing ourselves, so now we can make an impact. Maybe not to change the whole world, but we can have an opportunity to change our world. And so I talk about impact is the third pillar. Pillar number 4 is the pillar of rhythm, which is an interesting one. Rhythm is all about the pace and the timing of our life. It's about the ebb and flow, like the ocean tide. It's the ebb and flow of rest and work and play. It's like I see many people going nowhere fast. We all are very, we use the word I'm trying to get rid of in my vocabulary. It's a B word, Will. It's the word busy. We're all busy. But there's an ebb and flow to life, and that's what I call rhythm. So I unpack what that looks like. In that chapter, I talk about my burnout that I had in 2010, how I completely hit a wall, and how I had to learn how to live rhythm in my life. So that's the next pillar. Then we get to explore. Explore is this understanding that that life should be an adventure, that we have such a beautiful world that we live on. There's cultures, there's beauty in nature, there's all kinds of things to experience, and we should have fun every day. And I try to do that in my own life. And so I really unpack what it means to live a pillar of exploring and enjoying your life. Then we get to the next pillar. I'm really passionate about this one. It's pillar number 6, which is the pillar of connect. It's all
Mm.
about relationships. Maya Angelou said that the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your relationships. And in that chapter, Will, I have a pyramid that takes you through from being complete strangers with somebody, whether it's professional or personal, and how you move up the pyramid to different levels of connectivity with an individual, and how we can do that and how that takes place. So connecting, I'm a people person. I love connecting with people, and so that's that next pillar that leads us to the 7th and final pillar of the 7 pillars, which is the pillar of give. Life is to be about generosity. It's not what I can take, but it's what I can give. That I leave other people and I leave this planet better because I was here. It's all about generosity. John Maxwell says that success is what we gain for ourselves, but significance is what we give to others. And so I'm really passionate about that one as well. So if I were to pick one of them, Will, I don't know, maybe I'd like to hear one of them jumps out for you too, my friend. But I would say that for me, the pillar that right now that continues to resonate, that I'm trying to be intentional about all of these, but that one on rhythm, the pacing of life, that we aren't supposed to live fifth gear full throttle all the time. There is to be this rhythm where we work from our rest, not rest from our work. That's a quote from Mike Breen. And I'm continually being challenged, and yeah, I'm challenged by that one because I want to make the most of my life, and that includes times of rest, and it includes times of play.
Well, it's interesting because I couldn't pick one, so I picked
Yeah.
two.
Okay.
Number one, purpose. It's extremely important. And I saw at your back, behind you, it's a plaque or award from Gab Boucher. So
Yes,
you're the first 100 certified purpose coach.
you are
Right?
correct on that.
Congratulations.
You start with purpose. Yes, my
Yep. So
friend Gab,
purpose
you
is
bet.
so, and then the second one is rhythm. I totally agree with you with rhythm. But on rhythm, I want to sort of deep dive a little bit on rhythm. When you talk about work and play and how we avoid burnout in fast-paced, hustled world, how do we
Mhm.
balance that? Like, how do you gain control over when you rest and when you work? Because the corporate demand you're engaged full time.
Right, right. Well, I would say this. First of all, we have a word, and I'm not picking on you, Will, because we say it all the time. We say the word balance. And I think that's part of our challenge is we're trying to find balance. You
Yeah,
hear the phrase work-life balance. I actually personally believe there's no such thing.
yeah,
And if we
I
get to
agree.
balance, that means that we've stopped because we're not going to the right or the left. We're not tipping. We're right centered on the fulcrum there, and we're balanced. I don't think that's a realistic desire or goal. We're not going to achieve work-life balance or rest-work balance. Instead, what we need to look at is work-life blend. How do we find time? Not how do we find, how do we intentionally make time for resting and then working? So for some of us, it might mean I get up a little bit earlier and I go to bed a little bit earlier so I can get up a little bit earlier because I need time in the morning for reading or reflection or writing or thinking while we have our cup of coffee in the morning, it's saying, okay, I'm gonna center myself. I'm gonna get focused in my faith. I'm gonna read a personal development book, whatever it is that we're gonna center ourselves in the morning. That's a form of rest. Now we can work out of that when our cup is full rather than our cup is half full or empty. I think, though, the other piece I would say, Will, is it's important that we identify what are our priorities. What are our priorities? And there's a framework of 3 questions. I'll just give them real quick that can help us with that. We start with, in setting our priorities, we start with what is required of me. So we have to put those things that are, maybe it's work related or at home, that are required of us. Then we go to number 2 question, what gives me the greatest return? Sometimes we're spending our time doing things that are not giving us a return. And so it's actually draining us because we're not getting a return of that time. We don't get any time back. So we have to be intentional about how we spend and use and invest our time. The third question is what is most rewarding for us. So when we determine those things, those help us to set priorities, and then we can prioritize putting on our calendar times of rest and refreshment. Rest and refreshment is not always taking a nap. It could be doing the thing that you love. It might be getting out on your bicycle and riding, or it could be being in your garden, or it could be, it could be enjoying reading a book, whatever it is. Rest for each of us is a little different, but the key is that we're doing things that fill our cup, not just all the things that drain us.
I love the fact that you said there's the concept of balance is really not the right approach, and I totally agree with you that one. What I really love even better than that is the concept of priority and the 3 questions that helps you to drive the priority in your coaching work. What are the common patterns you see where people struggle and with misaligned priorities?
Yeah, I think the key is that especially drivers, type A people like myself, we think we can have it all and do it all at the same time. And so we over schedule ourselves and we overcommit because our priorities aren't clear. When we set our priorities, it's interesting, Will, the word priority versus priorities in the original, there's only one priority. You can't have 10 priorities. So you have to be able to hone down what really is my priority number 1, and then what may be some sub priorities, if you will. But that allows us then to have clarity. Clarity always precedes peace. Don't miss this. Clarity always precedes success. And, the person that chases 2 rabbits catches neither one. So we have to be intentional about what really are my priorities. And then I'm going to start saying no to other things that are going to prevent us from having the peace and having the success that we ultimately are longing for.
So how do we develop that muscle to say no? At times it's hard.
It is.
If multiple offers are on the table and they're all looking really great for you, how do you develop that habit or muscle to say no to one of them?
Again, I'll come back to the word clarity. Some words that I can't say enough. Intentional, clarity. I mean, there's just certain words, Will, that I love so much. So clarity. Let me give a quick couple questions that help us get clarity. Because once we have clarity, it's easier to say no. Andy Stanley said it this way: when the vision is clear, the options are fewer, and decisions are easy. Oh my goodness, mind blow. When I first heard that, I thought I will never forget that. When the vision is clear, the options are fewer, decisions are easier. So we're saying yes too much when we don't have clarity. So we're like a car weaving down the road rather than a car that says, this is my lane, this is where I'm sticking because this is what I'm called to at this season of life. So here's a couple questions. It's to begin ask our I'm giving some gold right here, Will. I'm giving stuff that I give my coaching clients, but I want to add value to your listener today. So we ask the question, what do I want? And then we put three distinctive parts to that question. What do I want now? What do I want eventually? What do I want ultimately? Now, Will, you get to decide the time frame of each of those categories. You get to decide when is now for Will. Is it today? Is it the next 3 months? Is it the next year? What is now for you? And then list out, what is it I want? What do I want in my work? What do I want in my relationships? What do I want spiritually? What do I want financially? What do I want in my health? What do I want now? And we begin to get clarity on what I want now, which should lead to then what do I want eventually? You get to decide the time frame of eventually. And then what do I want ultimately? Is that in 3 years? Is that 5 years? And we should be headed towards what we want ultimately by backtracking as to what I want eventually and then therefore what I want now. And when we get clear, when that vision is clear, Will, the options are fewer, decisions are easier, and now we know what to say yes to and what to say no to because we have clarity. I hope that's helpful for you.
No, no, it is. It's pure gold, right? Like you said, when your vision is clear, your option is limited, and decision is easier. And I love the what do I want now, right? What I want
Mhm.
ultimately. Like I think those three questions are super powerful. As you work with client, can you share a transformation experience of a client that you work with?
Absolutely. I want to start with myself. Leading others is a lot easier sometimes. Directing, asking questions of coaching clients and sharing leadership principles. That's the easier part. The more challenging part, Will, is applying it and leading myself. So I'll answer that first by saying leading myself. There's a transformation that's continually happening in my life because I continue to learn a little bit, do a little bit, grow and apply. So I'll start with myself. That's where transformation all starts. Transformation begins in me. So then I would share, boy, I have so many different clients that I love when I hear testimonials from them of opportunities where they were leading in a company, a business, an organization. And through our coaching process, whether it was one-on-one coaching or in my group cohorts that I do. So I'll share one. I'll share a story of one of my clients. I'm going to change his name, but he works at a pretty substantial company, and he was dealing with a challenge at the time. I said I was going to change his name. I didn't even give you a name, but anyway, he was dealing with a challenge with with a team member, and through our coaching process, I asked him several questions that helped give him a filter of how to approach this particular individual as well as other opportunities that may come across his path that are difficult or challenging in working with a team member. And he said that one coaching session gave him such a new perspective. He wrote down those questions. He said he put them on his bulletin board right in front of his desk. And he said it was transformational. He went back to that team member, began to work through some of the misunderstandings they had simply because of the framework of questions that I gave him. And he said it was absolutely transformational in his workplace. So that's just one of many, many examples I can give you of individuals that have been experiencing transformation.
For my listener, that one is truly impactful. One coaching
Mhm.
session make a difference in someone's life. Reach out to Bill Goodwin. My next question is, like you said, type A people, they really want to get a lot done. Many of our listeners are high achiever. They struggle between rest and renewal. So your concept of rhythm, how do they best manage that for to achieve a happier life?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's coming to the understanding that we optimize our output when we have taken care of ourselves first. It's the old thing on the airplane when you hear before the plane takes off, if the mask were to come down, put the mask over your nose and mouth before assisting others. You can't give away what you don't have. So how do we get our cup filled back up? It's through rest and renewal and personal development. So those are the ways that we first have to accept the understanding that I'll be optimized in my performance when I take care of myself. A professional athlete, for example, they know in order to perform on the field or on the court or in their sport is they have to take care of themselves first, or they're not going to be optimized with their team or in their performance. I don't know why it's so hard for us in business to realize that it isn't supposed to be just pour out, pour out, pour out. Then we get depleted, then we get frustrated, then we don't think as clearly as we could or should. So it's starting with the mindset that I need to prioritize my own mental health, my own emotional health, and my own physical health, my own spiritual health. And that comes also through the process of determining what fills my cup. What type of rest do I need that fills me up? Again, it's going to be different from person to person, but once we can first have that mindset that I need to be taking care of myself first so that I'm optimized, then two, what are the ways that I can best optimize my replenishment so that I can give my best. Those are the first two steps. And I think each individual should slow down enough to take some thought, to take some time to think about that and write some things down, or maybe ask people who know you best. Like, what would you say would be the best ways that you see that when I'm most energized and refueled, if you're not sure yourself? So those would be the first two steps I would say to make sure that you're living at your very best.
At the end of the day, it goes back to the word priority, which is the title of your book. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. If someone wants to start a priority living journey today, what's a small step they could do today to start that?
Yeah. Well, I would say first of all, I invite you to go to my website and get a free chapter of my book. So there's a form there. You can fill that out. You'll get a free PDF, one chapter of my book. That would be a great way to get you started. And that you go to PriorityLivingBook.com or PriorityLivingCG.com, and you'll see the link there to get a free chapter of the book. If you're starting in your own life, I think it comes back to being intentional about, maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need somebody to come alongside you. Again, athletes have a coach. Why in business would we not have a personal coach? So maybe it's getting a coach for you. Maybe it's sitting down and really assessing what are your priorities. What are the things that I need to, maybe it's those three questions. What do I want now? That I laid out earlier. Those would be some real practical things I want to give the listener today, our new friend that's on the other end of our conversation, to be, don't just take in this conversation, but do something that is practical and apply something to your own life so that you really benefit and move towards a life of priority living.
If my audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, there's a couple streams you can get to me. I am on LinkedIn and Facebook under my name, Bill Goodwin. You can go to my website, you can email me, bill at PriorityLivingCG.com, or you can go to my website, PriorityLivingCG.com. Those would be some of the easiest ways to connect with me. For those that are on Instagram, I am at Coach Bill Speaks. You can find me on Instagram as well.
Thank you, Bill, for your time. Really appreciate you being a guest on my podcast.
Will, it was an honor to be with you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too.